pretty much ready to go on the main stage. And I do have two wonderful casters who, by the way, I think something's happened here in terms of the blue because it's very blue up here.
We did not coordinate this.
Yeah, this was not planned at all, but I'm going to hand it on over to the very well-dressed Shozi and Gaskin.
From the Lion's Den down to the Shark Tank, Native Red has decided sink or swim time. And I'll tell you something, SSG, like the desktop I've already pointed to, they look hot.
They do look hot, and I love that they pointed out that this is pretty much exactly the same as what happened at the World Championships last year, even with FaZe finishing 4th. Now SSG, if they were to take down Native Red, it's going to be an exact replica of back then, which does bode well for Optic fans, but maybe Native Red can change this script a little bit, but you're completely right. They are going to have to play some completely different Halo, something very different from what we've seen so far. Clutch said they have a ceiling, a high ceiling. Well, I want to see them touching that if they are going to match SSG here, because I feel like even if SSG are not even close to their ceiling, they can still 3-0 teams. They can still demolish teams. Spacestation, for me, are the most consistent team across every single map and mode that we have in Halo Infinite. So when we look at series layouts, usually it favors this SSG roster because they're so dominant across so many maps and modes.
And you speak about perhaps Native Red needing to find that extra gear, that new gear that they haven't been able to find before. And when it comes to their playstyle, they're very much in the same ilk. They're cut from the same cloth as Space Station, as Quadrant. But time and time again, Space Station have shown that they play that playstyle better than anybody else.
They do. I think that Space Station, it's just about how clinical they can be when it comes to objective play. They can play with pace, but they also know when to slow it down at the same time. And their objective has been insane so far this event. We've seen them get outslayed, but still get that perfect setup. An oddball, for example, knowing when to rotate on strongholds and just holding the perfect setup for King of the Hill as well. SSG seem to have a little bit of everything, no matter what map and mode we are playing. Now we begin with CTF Empyrean, which is a very good opener for SSG. Now SSG have been probably the best team at this tournament with map ones anyway, but to do it on one of their strongest maps and modes does not bode well for Native Red. And if you are the Native Red side, you cannot allow Space Station to start dominating your tower, taking that sniper rifle off you. You have to keep them on their side of the map.
And for the winner of this series, Grand Finals awaits against Optic Gaming. And it'll be for a team for the first time in Halo Infinite history to go there into Grand Finals, reset the bracket, and then win the competition outright.
And SSG had a darn good go at the Halo World Championships. They managed to get the reset against Optic, but then were not able to get the job done in that second series. And I'm sure that Space Station would love to have another chance at trying to do so. But you've got to get through a very determined, hot and fiery Native Red roster. Now, Native Red did have a bracket that gave them a path to the top 3, and that will always be the story that is said for this team if they lose out here in the elimination final. However, if they can upset the odds, if they can overcome Space Station, then all of that storyline gets wiped away and everyone will say, all right, this Native Red roster, they deserve to be in a grand final. But it is going to be a very tough task against a Space Station roster who have been on a warpath in this elimination bracket.
The elimination bracket book is blank. The pen is in the hand of the victor, and to the victor go the spoils. An opportunity at Grand Finals for the winner of this series. Shields up, weapons hot, we're underway.
It looks like Native Red very much prioritizing the overshield here, and Space Station get a free set of rockets. Here comes Pznguin from behind, and it's gonna be a double kill. Sniper rifle in their control as well, and Space Station already moving in on this flag.
Pznguin gets the flag touch. Ops this time to run it high side. Something we've seen from Space Station more often than not is actually running it under bridge.
Yeah, it really depends on where they have that control and where they've been able to get those slays. Because Pznguin was able to move through and he assumed spawns would be okay over towards Sniper because no one was blocking them, it meant they could move that flag. 3 are dead again, but what Pznguin did well was he dropped the flag, he waited, he slayed with his team, but now's the time to drive that flag through the long haul. And once you get it here, this is almost a guaranteed cap with the position that he finds his teammates in.
There's a reason why this is Space Station's best map and mode combination. Absolutely clinical and make no mistake about it. They're on the board already.
And this is now such a tough task for Native Red. If it wasn't already, when Space Station find the lead on Empyrean, they are so good at holding that middle map, controlling green and long haul and forcing you to try and go for a sneaky flank and then punishing you, getting the player advantage, and then they'll start to push through. Native Red just needs to be careful they don't play into Space Station's hands here.
Space Station Gaming got that flag capture in 2 rounds of slays. 8 kills is all it needed to get a 1-0 flag capture. Absolutely clinical. Manny though, long haul, drop ball goes down. Ooh! More of that, please. Eco will shut the sniper down. 3 dead though for SSG. SoulSnipe on the plat. 4 dead for Space Station, and SoulSnipe can pull a flag of their own.
StelluR was first to spawn though. If he can get a good nade onto this flag, and this is still stop them all for Space Station, and StelluR gets the kill as well. Suppress gets the trade, but now this has allowed Space Station to push up the training, and this flag is dead. Native Red cannot run this anymore. Taulek goes down, and Space Station have defended successfully. And this could be the difference in when you get those slays. Even though Native Red were able to slay the entire Space Station roster, StelluR, being that first player on spawn, he was the critical moment for SSG. Had he not got that kill, then Native Red might have been able to get that flag a little bit further.
Rocket scooped up for Pznguin. He fires both, fearing for his life, just making sure possession didn't cross over into Native Red hands. SoulSnipe also goes down. Overshield for Eco, 3 dead for the moment for Native Red. Plasma pistol though from Manny. Very important kill to make sure they stop any pressure from SSG.
Native Red cannot allow Space Station to have this much control over rockets and overshield as well. Need to be more on top of it. Sure, there wasn't much done with the rockets and overshield from Space Station, but they also negate them. It doesn't allow Native to push through and grab a flag with them, and having the lead, Space Station can play in that way. They can dictate the pace a little bit, and StelluR now confidently pushes through to the other side. He's listening to callouts, will make it a double kill. He probably wants to try and make it more.
So much pressure being applied.
Oh boy.
Reward. StelluR taking up station. Over towards your snipe tower. Manny with his head between his knees, praying for help. The gods won't answer this time, nor will his teammates. 3 members up though, with the snipe rifle in the hands of Eco and StelluR. They can just pick Native Red apart.
Yeah, they've given up tower control here, so now they're worried about StelluR, but also all the meantime, Bounce coming in from first BR. They're getting pinched. Suppress should get finished off here. Even though the spawners can challenge StelluR, Space Station have done so much. They forced Native Red to retreat back to their base, and all the meanwhile, this is just depleting the time and reducing the amount that Native Red have to try and get a flag cap of their own.
Eco eats a couple of grenades. Pressure. Will not be able to withheld for SSG. This flag will be pulled, but they don't really have the slays or the men in position to capitalize on it. Flag down on cuts.
They slay as they move to Space Station, and yet again, the initial ball was over towards Snipe. Bound thought about maybe just relaying it under bridge, but then he noticed there was a gap, and maybe the damage could be done over on Needle's side, and it has been done. Flag's already got through long haul, and this is going to be 2-0 now to SSG. Once they get that flag moving, they are so good at covering the flag's backside. Pznguin sends the second one home, and now Native Red have got a real job to do.
Counter cap opportunity. Bound will thin the numbers and skew it in their favor, perhaps off the respawn as Overshield's gone into his chest, but rockets have been scooped up. One's been fired over towards Snipe, but it hasn't connected. Manny's been able to get another kill. Repulsor play will send that rocket back home immediately. Flag dead in the water. Yeah,
Bound knew exactly what he wanted to do there. Overshield into the repulsor and then immediately challenge the rocket player. When you're in green with rockets and you see anyone start to encroach on you, you fire that rocket immediately just in fear of your own life, and Bound sends it right back home. It's 2-0, it's comfortable, and Native Red on the back foot. They're being outslayed at the moment, 47-33. They've just not been able to get a hold of this game.
Space Station one flag capture away from winning the game. What have Native Red got? They sent 2 through green, and they get a kill, an important one at that. They now control Needler's side of the map, formerly known as the Mauler. Manny will get 1. They've lost SoulSnipe during the distance to this flag. Bound in Needles. Will get 1, but will die. constantly trading our SSG, making sure they keep the numbers slightly in their favor.
Sniper rifle controllers was everything in the series that we've seen from SSG so far. Quadrant earlier on the main stage. It was very important that Spacestation always had that in the hands of someone so they could get that initial pick. And there it is. And now suddenly Native Red really struggled to push through. Even though the numbers are somewhat even, when you lose that first man, suddenly the push is given up. The jig is up. Have to kind of back off, and the push comes to nothing now. Spacestation can play in whichever way they fancy here. They could just delay this one and probably win this game 2-0 after 5 minutes. Or they could wait, force Native Red to make that mistake, and then that's when they will capitalize. That's what SSG are usually so good at doing.
Haven't played defense for now. With good reason. 2 have fallen. Over towards green. Bound's got the trade again. And Taulek trying to leak forward. He's the only man forward though, the furthest one. And immediately he gets cut apart. You can see there's a clear game plan in place for Spacestation. Happy to hold the halfway point of the map and only push forward if they really need to.
Yeah, and then seek and destroy as soon as anyone slips through. Make sure that first man goes down. And again, it was the sniper rifle body shot that made the difference and stops the attack. Taulek takes another sniper rifle shot to the body. This time, he stays alive and manages to use the drop wall to keep on going. But again, it's another set of rockets that goes in favor. At least Native Red have been able to gain the overshield. This is somewhat better for them. Because his teammates have gone down, Suppressor's going to struggle to really do anything with the time he has as an overshield player.
Heat wave. Hold on. 3 shots fired. Still not enough to clear out Bound. Overshield becomes an undershield. He only has a quarter left. 1 burst would have taken Suppressed out. Bound done so much damage. Really capitalized whenever Suppressed did miss those shots. And StelluR will get the final shots to get the kill. And now, all of a sudden, Spacestation have a man behind enemy lines and 3 dead for Native Red.
3 are dead, and StelluR knows where that 4th player is as well. He's got that call out, and this is great from him. Don't allow them to just get 3 shots from you. Instead, do some damage as a player, especially when you have a 2-0 lead. There's no need to try and force it and give up any sort of player advantage to the opposition. You could let this flag die happily and just give your teammates a chance to actually rescue back the map somewhat at the halfway point.
2 members sent down long haul. Pznguin coming back through green. 3 members of Native Red turn to face him. They realize how important he is to get cleared out. Pznguin and Manny will fall. SoulSnipe will need to watch his teammates. And Suppressed is going to be cut in half. A sniper rifle is stolen from Native Red's side, and now Pznguin gets the only wishes.
There's always the consideration, do I toss it off the map? But at 2-0, Pznguin actually started to feel himself a little bit, maybe felt a little bit saucy. Wanted to slip and slide at the top of tower, but now he's giving it over to SoulSnipe. And if you have Snipe in your name, you better believe you better be good with a sniper rifle. We know SoulSnipe can hit those shots, but he's going to need to hit a lot if Native Red are going to get back into this one. There's the first body. Oh, but StelluR's there and waiting. He's wise to it.
It appears you don't always need to have Snipe in your name. StelluR shuts him down. Bound gets 2 elsewhere. Snipe gonna be runway. SoulSnipe will get peeled by the same man twice. Now he's threatening to put Suppressed away and does. Tucks him to sleep. Manny top tower finally shuts him down, but the flag's already on the way home as Pznguin slides in and Spacestation Gaming will win game 1.
Outslaying their opposition by 17 kills. Spacestation dominated that map for quite some time. And for Native Red, they were never really able to gain any sort of control of the rockets. They had an overshield once, but even then, Suppressed was on his own in Sword, and Bound made him make an absolute meal of the heatwave. And SSG, they breezed into map number 2 with a 3-0 lead on Empyrean. And it increases their impressive record on that map and mode. They've only lost it twice so far this season, but now they're up to 7 victories. For Native Red, I think this was always going to be the toughest map of the series, but it just now gives Spacestation that confidence and that belief. And you feel like Spacestation, they know they have what it takes to get to a grand final again. And all of that belief comes from Salt Lake City. They finally were able to lift that trophy, show us what it's like to be champions, and they want to taste and feel that trophy lifting feeling yet again.
And we're always talking about, always harping on about objective efficiency. We use that buzzword. Sometimes it loses its meaning, but what we've seen from SSG, when you get 8 kills, 2 rounds of slays, and you immediately put a flag in and go one to the good, Dan, it just shows there's a clear gulf in class sometimes between these teams when it comes to specific game types.
Well, as we've mentioned a few times already today, Space Station's Slayer game has not been the best, and if you are Native Red fan, it has to be here for me on Slayer Aquarius to make something of this series. Quadrant were able to take a Slayer off of Space Station, but it was the objectives that just became a little bit too much. Slayer Aquarius is typically one of the better Slayers, though, for Space Station. They're 4 and 5 across this season in wins and losses. Usually it's, StelluR, bottom middle, running rampant, given all the freedom. You need to shut him down. You need to take that heat wave away from SSG. Let's see if Native Red have got anything. Can they make a series of this one?
On board with StelluR. Warning shots fired across the map, some connecting, some not. Suppressed and StelluR taking up the same role, sitting in the base, anchoring for their team. Suppressed will stretch out now, as will StelluR. Decided to go for a little walk, a stroll. P-side is destination. SoulSnipe gets pinched by 2. 3 kills to 1. Great start for SSG.
There's that heat wave, and now this is where StelluR usually gets into dangerous territory. Starts to roam freely, listening to all those call-outs from his teammates. You want to keep tabs of him, really. And it's so difficult when you're going up against Space Station to try and create any space. Whether it's top car, whether it's top P, you're always going to be called out. A very small map is Aquarius, and usually someone from Space Station has got their eyes on you. As now here comes StelluR doing vintage things. It's a double kill. It's 2 dead. And maybe it could be 3. It will be 3. There's only 1 alive. Taulek just scampers away. 10-3 now between Space Station and Native Red. And already they're on the back foot.
StelluR plays his angles so perfectly. Peeking down car 1, not isolating himself on the right side. Only taking out the player with no shields, and again he continues to roll. Killing spree. Manny was a 1-shot. Might have just evaded that headshot with a little crouch. StelluR comes back for more. Teammates on hand to help complete the kill. It was Pznguin with a double. Position now on P3. Players below him. Gonna clear that one out as well. 15 kills to 7. And it seems to me like all of Native Red are just trying to run away and survive and live when they're all down to no shields. It's food and drink for Space Station.
It's because they're being forced back. You've got Pznguin and Eco who are anchoring so well from very advantageous positions, whether it be top P, whether it be top car, even sometimes from the base. Whilst Bound and StelluR are just roaming around, listening to those call-outs and making sure that damage actually counts for a kill every single time. It's an 11 kill advantage now. Native Red off spawn are trying to match Space Station, but they are consistently being trapped, either at yellow or blue. As you can see, off spawn now 2 players. They try and move over towards car, but Space Station are there, waiting, hoping that they push into the gen.
Here comes Bound. Manny's got a kill over towards the P side, making a double. Pznguin answers back with a backpack. SoulSnipe will challenge front base. QT deployed. Manny's there. That's 3 kills for Manny in this life. Perhaps a lifeline in the game. Taulek gets a perfect kill. 9 kill differential.
You feel like if Native Red are going to get going here, Taulek is going to be a big part of that. He's had so many incredible tournaments throughout Halo Infinite. And he's a massive star for this roster, especially when it comes down to his slaying ability. Tries to put a 4th kill on the board, which he does, but gets shut down immediately. And whilst Native Red, 3rd place in this tournament, it would be absolutely incredible for them. It's always a frustrating feeling when you find yourself in that winner's final. And in a grand final that has eluded them so far, they've yet to finish higher than 3rd, have Native Red. When you start to fall about 10 kills plus down in game number 2, that seed of doubt starts to be planted in the back of your mind. Are we good enough? Do we deserve to be here? And you need someone to step up, and I feel like it has to be the likes of Taulek.
A lot of burden and weight on the shoulders of Taulek. Traditionally, he's the one they turn to when they look for slays and damage. Currently sitting at 6 and 9. On par pretty much the rest of his team. SSG just continue to smother them, giving them very little space to play in as Eco gets 2 more. And they can trade 2 for 1s, 1 for 2s, but it's Spacestation that only need 11 now.
I mean, if they're smothering them, StelluR is the pillow at the moment. He's being held firmly over their face because he just keeps on pushing in and is an absolute nuisance to every single time they spawn. Finally, he's caught off guard, but Bounce should be able to finish the damage he was able to provide. As I say that, it looks like Native Red have managed to avoid that. So this is better from Native Red, trying to stay alive and trying to not allow Spacestation to pick up those easy kills, but they still find themselves down by 10.
Suppress holds car. Taulek has P. First kill's gone their way, that's good. Better. StelluR though has answered back immediately. And all of a sudden, 8 kills is all that SSG need. Suppress will get his shields back. But they really need to start getting kills without reply, without response from Spacestation, because they're very quickly running out of deaths.
Which very rarely happens. Spacestation are one of the best teams at making sure they do trade out and they do finish off that damage. What a tournament Suppressed has had though, by the way. Native Red been trying to search for that 4th to replace Druck, who unfortunately couldn't stick with them for this season. And Suppressed seems to have been the right player just to fit in with the same sort of aggression that Native Red were looking for. But maybe Spacestation is just one step too far. However, saying that, it was a 5-kill game, but then just like that, Spacestation make it 7 yet again. Suppressed, caught out, unaware. Always making sure when you do push out from base, you want some sort of support from your team. And the support is there, but it's just the fact that Spacestation are able to pick off 1 or 2 every single time that keeps this tally rolling up very close to 50.
3 more. Eco on the car side. They get 1 that they need. This game is closer than perhaps it was a little while ago, but the fact of the matter remains, they only need 2.
I'll give credit to Native Red though. 46 now. It is got a 49th kill. It needs a 1 more for Spacestation. Native Red can't afford to let 1 slip through their fingers. A proper push could be done, and they managed to trade. Actually, it's still alive here. 49 to 47. Native Red. They were so close, and finally they will go down. Spacestation do put that 50th kill in. It got a little bit dicey towards the end, but the fact that Spacestation had such a heavy lead, they had those deaths to play with. It almost felt like they were toying with their food a little bit at times. 2-0 in the series, and Spacestation 1 game away from replicating what happened at the Halo World Championships, a 3-0 over Native Red, and a match in the Grand Finals with Optic Gaming.
Optic Gaming, no doubt, watching this from the back and recognize how close SSG are to being their next opponents. Taking a look at the stats then. No surprise, StelluR 17, 10 and 5 with an 8.7 KDA leading the lobby. Pznguin very quickly behind them with 15, 10 and 5, but you can see the assist column lighting up for Eco and Bound with double digits 10 and 11 respectively. They play so well together and they play for each other.
Native Red made a real game of it towards the end though. They were looking down and out, down by 10 plus kills. I don't know whether SSG just took their foot off the pedal a little bit or whether it was a case of maybe just a nice set of kills coming in from the Native Red boys. Damage good across the board, everyone playing their part, but it really was the StelluR show supported by Pznguin from a distance. And they both were able to rack up so many kills because of it. And I love the way they play Aquarius. It just seems like the perfect blend of teamwork, of distance fighting to up close and personal and getting in the face of your opponents.
Ruthless aggression. They ensure they go 2-0 in the series. Game 3 then, on the horizon. Recharge strongholds. Give me some good news for Native Red. Tell me this is going to form.
Native Red have been pretty good at strongholds. I think that if it's going to happen, it was probably going to be the 3rd map for them, but Spacestation, with the way they've been playing, it doesn't look like they're going to be dropping maps anytime soon. They have their eyes set on that grand final, and even though they slipped up in the latter stages of game number 2, they had enough of a lead. So Stronghold Solitude is where we're going. Native Red actually haven't lost Stronghold Solitude yet. They're 2-0 so far this year, or since the map and mode was released. As for Spacestation, they're on 1-1. So if you want to be a stats person, it's a 100% win rate for Native Red. Maybe this could be their chance. Breaking setups themselves. I think this is going to come down to how well Native Red escape blue, because I think it's inevitable. Spacestation will at some point get a triple cap, and Native Red need to make sure that they know how to break out of it.
If you're just joining us, first of all, where have you been? Secondly, we're glad to have you. Confirmation of what was been on our screens. CTF Empyrean 3-0, a dominant display from Spacestation Gaming. 50-47 on StelluR Aquarius. They started to let it slip towards the end, but got it over the finish line. And on the horizon then, Stronghold Solitude could be the last game we see for Native Red, unless they can push this game and push this series a distance.
And if they can do the unthinkable, if they can start the reverse sweep and get map 3 on their side and just take it one by one, if this were to go to a game 5, I wouldn't be too crazy to say that Native Red could become the favorites if we were to get there, because game 5s haven't really gone that well for Spacestation. But I don't think that SSG are going to allow this to get there. And even though there's a little bit of a delay waiting for these players to get ready in game 3, I don't think that's going to affect anyone, because SSG are always locked in. StelluR in particular, I mean, every time I seem to enter the gym, that man is on a treadmill. He is locked in 24/7 every single time.
24/11.
24/11, it seems. He adds extra days to the week. But it looks like the players now getting ready, headsets on, and we're just about ready for game number 3.
That was something he requested, actually, was a treadmill under his desk, so he can run around and shoot some stuff at the same time. He loves that bloody treadmill.
He does, and it wouldn't surprise me if he were to find one. As I'm just thinking, with Stronghold Solitude, if maybe Native Red can keep that sniper rifle out of StelluR's hands, then this is very much winnable. The 2 times we've seen Spacestation on Solitude so far today, StelluR has instantly off the spawn, stole that sniper rifle away, scampered away, and then been able to do some work with it. And I think if Native Red, they need to be doing their research, they need to be doing their prep, and they need to recognize that a starting strategy has to be about denying that sniper rifle. Have you put research into where your grenades need to be? Do you know where other teams can shoot you from in certain angles? It's map number 3. It's the elimination finals here in Fort Worth. The winner goes to the grand finals. Will it be SSG who need one more map? Or can we see Native Red start to make a comeback in this series?
Native Red on the ropes, looking stunned. And SSG poised to land the final haymaker. We're rocking and rolling in game 3. And Manny immediately heads towards Snipe, trying to get it out of the hands of StelluR.
But look, the nades were there from Spacestation. They denied Manny to get any sort of vision, and now that sniper has been whisked away, and you better believe you know whose hands it in. It's in StelluR's hands, and he's already been able to connect with body shots. It's actually in his back pocket rather than his hands right now, because he was assisting the team to ensure they took down the first player. B is going to be the first point of contest here, as both teams try and make sure they are the first ones to start scoring.
B in control of Native Red. Sniper rifle in possession of Taulek. This is a good start. Eco getting hassles from Manny over towards Snipe. But again, Eco managed to get himself the top S4 and rain down death and destruction with a fresh 4 shot as well. And if Eco starts hitting shots like that, what hope do you have? 3 dead for Native Red.
They did have 3 dead, but they did also have all of the strongholds as well. So it was a nice little early chunk of time, 28 points on the board. A gets stolen back, B can be contested by Native Red, and Spacestation on the back foot. And they're going to be the team that's over towards Yard and Blue. So I was saying that inevitably at some point Native Red would probably find themselves in this position, but they've done very well to force SSG to be the first team who has to break out here.
Now on top goal, drops down at the hill. Slays in their favor for now. Manny on garbage truck. Bounce backing him up forward, dead for Native Red now. And they'll immediately turn their attention towards C. Blue spawns for Taulek. He's getting pressured right off the rip. He's scrambling, trying to survive. Bound, makes a meal of it, but is successful with the kill.
Trip cap was there. A is being contested as well. Suppressed should be able to finish it off, which he does. But you can see SSG, it's so much pressure, and Suppressed was not aware that there was a Bound just leaking through. And this is where Bound plays it his very best. On Plaza, roaming the streets and making sure that he makes life so difficult for his opposition.
Parkouring, moving and grooving.
Here it is.
Bandit in hand, trying to get a trade. 3 dead. Go native red once more. They've been in 3 different cycles. In a blender, Manny wins a very big 1v1. That will mean that he can at least get a foothold in the game, a base of operations to push out from.
You have to work as a team when you get trip caps. You've got to make sure you get A together and then push out to try and take either a fight at B, or if you're feeling very brave, a longer rotation to take a big fight at C. But it looks like B is going to be the area they go for. Eco, the last remaining player, 4 dead for Space Station. So at first ask of Native Red, can they escape from the trip cap? The answer is yes. They've done so well at pushing Space Station back. And it was because they did work together. They did make sure they dropped from angles and collapsed at the same time.
StelluR will fall. Eco on glass. Gets wiped away. Down and Pznguin towards yard and flowers. Has to try and combine to take down Manny. The bandit rifle rattling off shots, doing a significant amount of damage, but Pznguin's there to clean up. Double kill for Pznguin. They're going to move down driveway and step into B. SoulSnipe recognizes this, puts it in reverse. Snipe rifle in hand. He's going to eat a grenade though. Fire a shot in anger. Bound will take him down. Suppress falls 2. StelluR will be responded to. It's S1 for Native Red right now. Space Station had them in a pinch.
2 have gone down for SSG, but because Native Red don't really have a foothold in this side of the map, as I say, that 4 go down. So now this is going to be an easy grab from B and a chance to set up. Bound might try and fly to contest, but he was pinched as well. He was sent back with those battle rifle shots. He wasn't allowed to jump freely into the hill. It's always frustrating when you see B being taken. You want to dive in, you want to challenge, you want to contest to allow your teammates off spawn to help you. But if the angles are being taken correctly by the opposition, it's almost impossible to try and push out a blue in that way.
Taulek drops down bottom middle. Suppress can see. Very important kill to StelluR. Grenades getting sent back from whence they came. The use of the repulsor. Eco has to back down off top gold edge. Pressure there. Grenades being sent. And all of a sudden, it's Space Station on the back foot. They're being forced into the yard. And they have to break a setup. Lovely snipe shot will connect from Taulek onto the body of Pznguin, and StelluR will answer back immediately. And now they have control of blue.
I think maybe Native Red just accepting that a 2 cap might be enough here against Space Station, and don't want to push their luck, really. If you start trying to go for that trip cap often, you leave yourself in a couple of 1v1s, and you know how good a lot of these SSG players are going to be in those individual fights. 3 go down for Native Red. B has not quite been secured, and it does get reset by the last remaining player. So the push didn't quite work out for Space Station, and that's always the risk. You don't keep enough alive, the other team could always just reset it once more and force you back to spawn.
Eco tried to get C. Unsuccessful. Bound crouching in a garbage truck. He's been figured out, found out. It's 4 dead once more. Space Station aren't able to handle the pressure that Native Red are imposing on them. This is perfect from the boys.
This is amazing from Native Red, and Space Station starting to finally see what Native Red are capable of on a map maybe where they feel a little bit more comfortable, when they can play in their flow state. SoulSnipe tries to get aggressive onto Flowers, but he's shut down, and that will be an opening for the SSG now. Taulek, though, doing a big job over at top goal, but it isn't going to be enough to stop StelluR. But because these spawns are staggered, there may be an opportunity for Native Red to contest B here. Suppress doesn't drop, though, and B is given over. The good thing with Native Red is they are keeping Space Station at arm's length. They are keeping a good 50-point or so lead. This is a great pitch, though, from SSG to keep A.
But Space Station is starting to take control of the hills once more, and Native Red spawning over towards Snipe. Let's have a little listen in with Space Station, see how they're navigating things.
Okay, come to me if you want.
Sniping posters.
Yeah, one shot.
End in trim, end in trim.
S4?
S4 weak. S4 with trim, could be yard.
Yeah, they're in yard, I think. I got one.
Come in.
One shot yard, one shot in yard.
Last guy yard. Member's down to LR Hall. Sniper down to LR Hall as well.
They're spawning snipe, I think.
Sniper down
Yeah,
there.
spawning snipe. Blue, U-turn, one shot. U-turn, one shot.
Top mid and top left. Top mid, posters maybe, U-turn, we never killed.
I'm going loop.
It's Manny.
I'll see him. You're one spot alive, one's alive.
Soda.
That's right, two on me.
U-turn, one shot, Taulek.
Go in, tram, honey.
That's Manny.
Yeah, tram, one. Two,
Yeah, they're both killing me. One shot driveway. He's marking on the green gun.
Looking.
No, John.
Two dead.
Nice, and it's gonna be big. Probably gonna be big.
Flowers might go market.
Nice, I'm going to see him.
One shot, Flowers to yard. Two shot in Flowers.
Multiple there.
You're blue, blue, blue.
Here's Zane, I'm here, Zane behind you. If you want to chill, if you want to chill. 2 on Zane, both. 3.
Yeah, they're all there, just left. Try to block
Manny's still weak, Manny's still weak.
That's QT,
I'm taking one,
I don't know
Manny's
where they're spawning. I don't know.
3 guys, flowers. 3 guys.
That was a pretty effective and efficient listen in during all the chaos. Triple cap was locked in. Native Red fighting from the backside of A. And they were unsuccessful. They might get C. All the scrambles going down. SoulSnipe was able to solo cap it. All the attention of the Spacestation was elsewhere. They immediately turned towards him. StelluR will look to get the kill and will. They're blocking blue spawns already. And it's S1 and S2 now for Native Red. But the backstab's already there. The Vice is coming and it's biting down hard.
And Bound has been one of the best players we've seen at this tournament with the Quantum Translocator. He always uses it as a free push, essentially. He popped it in a relatively safe area, goes top gold, knows he can challenge for free, wins that engagement. Then he pushes Snipe, knowing he can challenge for free, knowing he has that get out of jail free card. And Spacestation now have a significant lead. Native Red, they held it for quite some time. It was looking good, but SSG just know when they need to turn it up a notch a little bit. And they found now a great pace in this game, which Native Red are really struggling to keep up with.
2 dead for Native Red, 3 for SG, make it 4. StelluR's the fresh spawner S1. They've got control of B. They haven't got too many mistakes left in them, Native Red, with SSG already having 224 points, only needing 26 to close out this series. They've got the numbers advantage. Suppressed trying to survive on Silo. He cannot do so. Eco gets one more, a double kill. But Bound is the last man standing for Spacestation.
Spacestation are really well at pressuring those spawns. If you do spawn over towards like S1, you need to get out of there quickly. If you spawn towards Hotel, you need to get out of there faster than Spartan will be on Monday. And you can't allow Spacestation to be pressing you in this way. Native Red, 177 though. They are starting to get A and C. B has to be taken at some point though. A and C is too difficult to hold as a cap.
Slayers continue to roll around, favoring Native Red for now. A and B in their control. Looking towards C. Happy to let Spacestation spawn S1. And perhaps use it as a bottleneck. Don't let them out. But they've already ventured, and they've already gotten the opening pick. 2 go down. It's all on Manny and SoulSnipe to stop this B push. They have to get a lot of damage here. It's now down to just Manny, all by himself, and he will fall.
And that might just be the final dagger in the backs of Native Red here, as they may be falling out of this tournament as Spacestation hold B and C, and they're just 10 points away from a grand final.
StelluR has Snipe and QT, a get out of jail free card if he chooses to use it. They're in B, they're in C, but StelluR cutting down the numbers here and now, as he now moves back over towards C with that QT, and StelluR lands one more shot, one more in the grave, all 4 down for Native Red, and Spacestation Gaming win. They're going to grand finals.
Business as usual for Spacestation Gaming. They look like they are on a mission, and that mission is simple, to go back to back. But to do it, they're gonna have to overcome Optic Gaming in the grand final, not just once, but twice. 2 best of 7s on the horizon for that grand final, but Spacestation may get a 3-0 sweep. As for Native Red, it's always tough to be in that winner's final, get 3-0'd and unfortunately fall yet again in the elimination final to another 3-0. It's an exact carbon copy of what happened in the World Championships last year. But Spacestation, they're set out for one thing and one thing only. It's another trophy.
Take a look at the stats. And it was StelluR again. Why wouldn't it be? 24 kills, 14 deaths, and 10 assists. Outslaying Native Red by 11. Taking a look at the damage then. 5,800, but it was bound with 5,900 and suppressed. The new instruction, 6,000 damage. Just couldn't get the job done though, could Native Red.
I will say, even though it's a 3-0, Native Red put up a fantastic fight, especially in the end of game number 2 and the entirety of game number 3 there. But as always, Spacestation just have that little extra bit of confidence about them. They have that little extra bit of perfection about them when it comes to those setups, about that objective work. It was how long they were able to hold that trip cap, for example, how long they were able to keep their enemies at bay. They didn't allow there to be any sort of easy push, and they constantly forced them back in Native Red. They were just frustrated at times. We have our grand final. It's Spacestation Gaming versus Optic Gaming, and it's a carbon copy of what happened in the World Championships last year.
That's all from Dan and I. It's time for Lottie and the boys to break this one down. Take it away.
Thank you so much, fellas. Oh, you're back on screen. Hello, lads. How you doing? Looking good. There we go. Hold on. They just wanted a couple more seconds of their airtime. We gave it to them, of course. The request was
Classic Dan.
answered.
Sorry, I was joking on my own joke.
Classic Dan. It was indeed. I've got to say, though, my goodness me, Spacestation Gaming, we questioned whether or not Native Red would slow them down. Slow them down, they did not.
Oh.
Spacestation Gaming is just rolling on through, and that tends to be what they do, that momentum-based team clutch. They cannot be slowed, even through an elimination bracket with the pressure on their shoulders of their tournament life. It feels like they almost excel in this kind of situation, in this, I don't know, freedom to be able to go and do what they want, take the risks, get the rewards. We're seeing right now the first map here. And Clutch, it really was game over from the beginning. Actually, we're not, I don't think we all say, is this map one?
This is map
This
one,
is map
and this
one.
is
Okay.
a dominant performance from SSG this time around. You wondered what this series was going to be like at the start. Well, SSG set the tone very early on here. Empyrean CTF, one of their bread and butters, one of their best map mode combinations, and definitely a game type that they smiled when they saw as game one in this series, because they have ambitions of getting to that grand finals, and they have punched their ticket after this game 2 and 3 performance following the Empyrean CTF.
Tony, I was really impressed with the clawback from Native Red here in this Slayer. You know, it just wasn't enough, unfortunately, for them. Were you impressed with how they played, or were there still some serious mistakes? I mean, containing a pretty significant lead here going into the strongholds, and then Spacestation Gaming just being able to wipe that one right from their grasp.
Yeah, I think I was still impressed by what Native Red were able to do in that game number 2. Obviously didn't get the win, but within 3, where I think Native Red struggled a little bit, both in the Slayer and even in the Strongholds, was having that full map control, that full map awareness, even when you're up in numbers. I remember specifically one time on Solitude, you had 2 players, both Manny and SoulSnipe, over toward the top nest side. You literally had one player just get right behind him and bound, put shots into Manny, he backs down. Put shots into SoulSnipe, he runs away, and nobody turns and gets him. Bound gets an easy double kill. And in fact, West saw that. He was like, that's game. Like, that was it. That was a critical moment within the game.
It was a critical moment. We see that time and time again with Spacestation. You talked about how good they are at, you know, playing their lives, saving themselves from danger, being able to put damage in, and teammates coming in, the timing to be able to pick up those kills, give them the numbers. I mean, at the end of that, Strongholds, I was so impressed with StelluR there, popping off, getting them the numbers, getting them the openings, not allowing Native Red to get back in the game, and they will take them down 3-0. There's your elimination finals score, and as we head into the winners bracket, of course, we do have our grand finals set and ready to go as well. As you can see, Optic Gaming, they have been 3-0ing their way. They did have a close call with Spacestation Gaming, which we're hoping for another close call in this grand finals, just for the fun of it, just for the entertainment. This is a carbon copy, like Dan said, of the World Championships. Clutch, what are you expecting out of this series? It is a best of 7 and a potential bracket reset.